Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So this might be a little bit too early to say, but there is a high possibility that Hugin is a meta level AFK stage pusher or PVE unit in general. So one thing about Hugin which I think a lot of people talked about is like how fixed he is in terms of the buff for the mechanized Zeeebo. So the third skill is something that I'll say is what we call the drawbacks. But I do think that Hugin's upside, it's a lot more impactful if you're able to capitalize on it rather than just looking at the downside of the Zeeebo itself, because this unit is a unit that is pretty much like Coco, right? With the ability to shield many allies with the ultimate spam over here, so that you are able to actually use your kinship skill to shield your ally, at the same time granting them control immunity, which is something that Coco cannot offer, while also giving the damage reduction that Coco is also able to give. So you get lesser values here, but I could see Hugin being insanely good in a situation where you are able to survive decently well. You don't need like over protection, but you need more damage. That's where I think Hugin does a lot better, because Hugin's charm gives you the offensive buffs, the ultimate gives you the offensive buff, and the Zeeebo or the mechanized bond gives you an offensive buff. So in the event where you can survive, Coco's damage reduction will be less impactful compared to Hugin, and that's where you can slot in Hugin into that team. There's also another situation where you might want to run the Maulers in one team, and then you can run Hugin together with another healer in another team. So you get a Coco Smokey on one team, and you get Hugin and a healer on another team, which is sort of like a healer plus Hugin situation there. So those are the two ways which I found really interesting use for Hugin right here. And in this video, we're going to showcase a few battles which I recorded, because I feel that the double stages, they take way too long to run through. So one team is the Smoky OD team, the standard Mauler team right here, as you guys can see. So this is the pretty standard OD team with our dear OD standing behind Hugin right here. Okay, so we go at one time. So OD is one of the best unit, if not the best unit, maybe except for maybe Dino, maybe Vala as well, but one of the best unit, because this unit has a maximum attack range, or a really long attack range. So the only time he will actually get out of that tower behind our dear Hugin over here is when you get displaced by the enemy. But in a PV sense, you can, make the choice to not put this team into teams that can displace you. So there's that. But if you take a look at this, right, even without Coco, we can survive decently well. And in this place, as long as you survive, Hugin's buff is actually better for you to kill off the enemies faster. So this is what I'm trying to say, right? You can use Hugin as a replacement to Coco, number one. Number two, you can use Coco in one team and Hugin with another pairing in another team. So let's say if you're already running OD in one team, right, and then you're running all your Maulers in one team, good for you. You can actually use Hugin in another team with the Wilders combi, which I'm going to showcase later. Okay, so let's run at 2 times. So you can see our dear OD just standing on the spot, just getting all the good buffs and then outputting damage and dealing massive damage. So later on, we'll run through the damage numbers. Okay, kill off this guy and then we are done. Okay, so we'll kill off this guy and then we are done. So if we take a look at the damage numbers right here, as you guys can see, right, pretty impressive. If you compare this to the likes of Carolina, which is well known to be one of the best damage dealer, this is a pretty impressive number. So this is done with all the good buffs from Smokey, all the good buffs from Hugin, when you can survive really well. So if let's say you need more survival, maybe Coco's a lot better. So this is like the substitute we can do. And for the other team, right, we're going to feature a team without the Maulers. So this is a comparison right here, and then this is the comparison right here, as you guys can see. So right here, we have Parisa being another really good unit with Hugin because of her extremely long attack range, as well as herself being a really good, I'll say, like single target or AoE unit. So looking at the current hero pool right now, I think there are quite a few units that goes really well with Hugin. So number one, OD obviously. Number two is Dino. Dino's more for the PvP side, not for the PvE side. PvE side, we also have our dear Floribel with 5 attack range, but I don't think Floribel's attack buff, okay, it does matter a little bit because she's still a carry, so you can definitely try Floribel. So 5 attack range, and Floribel's relatively immobile, so Parisa's also one of them. Our dear Cicius also okay. Like there are quite a few units which has really long attack range and they don't move a lot. So units which have 5, 6 or 7, they're all decently good. Vala specifically has 7, and Vala in the PV side, if you manual, you can sort of jump her back behind Hugin in case she jumps away. So that's one of the added benefit. But for the Parisa team, Parisa has always been a decent decently good, I'll say, like a PVE unit. And right here, this is the damage run, so let's run through the show. So the idea, the concept is the same. We put Hugin in the middle. So this is to let the 5 attack range unit always be able to touch a target, so they don't reposition themselves to get out of the mechanized Zeeebo. So that's the idea of Hugin. So we are trying to capitalize on the upside of Hugin while minimizing the downside. So there will be some times where maybe the front line gets wiped out and then we are left with the back line, and then the carry will actually shift the position. But if such a case happen, it means that you are already winning because the front line has already been brought down. So that's, I'll say, like the still an upside to me, because we managed to bring down the front line to go after the annoying back lines itself. So right here, as you guys can see, having that 5 attack range allows our Parisa to just stand behind, spam her skill while being constantly buffed by Hugin right here. So this is definitely another team that you guys can use in case you're already using your wilders in another team itself. So that's why I think Hugin is actually a really meta level support, provided he gets more partners that are good. Like, he has this downside, I agree, but like if you take a look at the upside that he's able to offer, it's actually really impressive. Okay, so right here we have another showcase. So this is with Cisia, also another 5 range attacker, supported by Hugin for the AoE damage as well as debuff, and then we have Lucius and Rowan for the support. So let's run through the replay. So I think ideally the carry of choice would be and probably must be a 5 range, because if you want to maximize the mechanized bond itself, this will probably be the best suggested way, right? So if you want to play Hugin as just a standalone shielder as well as buffer for the team, then I think 4 or 3 attack range units also work. Just get the buff for a little bit, let the unit come online, and then just let Hugin continuously protect the team from there. So this is the damage distribution. You can see the damage done by Cisia being significantly higher, and obviously it's also buffed by our dear Hugin being able to apply for this AoE debuff from the ultimate combined with the Supreme Plus skill. So this is, I'll say, another team idea that you guys can use if you just want to try out different teams on the PVE side. So that's pretty much it for this video, just a very simple sharing of the few PVE observations that I observed for Hugin so far. Another way I've been using Hugin in the team is just using him to spam the shield. I just don't care about the additional buffs that you get from the Zeeebo itself. So that works as well, but I feel that it's just a little bit wasteful for us to not capitalize on this. So I'm always trying to think of, okay, who can I put together with him to make him work while still capitalizing on everything in his kit. So right now, I think these 2 teams are pretty much the most solid and the most consistent route. So in the next few days, I'll experiment with a few more teams, and then we'll talk about the best PVE teams for this unit moving forward. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.